Still waiting. This is one thing about Google. When they change the whole lot of process, this happens. I wish they stopped updating the machine because it was never was this like this. Yeah, they're always upgrading things, and this is what happens. If it's not broke, leave it alone.
Yeah, it's
A lot of
Google
people do
though.
like to hang out. They hate Google Plus, but they like to hang out. All right, we're live. All right, guys, we do. We apologize for that, guys. I have no clue what just happened. I believe it has something to do with some of the apps that's happened before with my computer. I'm gonna check my end. Hopefully, that will not be a problem in the near future when we officially start the season. But I was not going to end this because my co-host James have a couple of stories he would like to talk about, and we still have the blockbuster results that we have to talk about before ending the show. So James want to talk about something. I know what it is. I'm not surprised by the actions that happen. He may talk about something else that may caught my attention, but I'm gonna leave it for James to bring this story up. Go right ahead, James. It's all yours.
Well, yeah, to me the big story that caught my attention recently was the George Zimmerman getting in trouble again, or not getting in trouble, apparently. Um, the story, as I understand it, is that he saw somebody in the car next to him point at him, or something to that. All he I could maybe pointed at him, and Zimmerman gets out of the car and he goes over and he says, "Don't you know who I am? I will kill you." And the guy rightfully calls the cops. Zimmerman takes off and then shows up at the guy's work the next day with a loaded gun. And again, the guy called the cops. This time the cops came.
What he did? We showed the guy's work.
He did. The very next day he showed up at the guy's work.
He actually showed.
Yeah, and they have video footage of that. And he had a gun on him, but the guy refused to press charges. Zimmerman left and off to, that the time bomb that is George Zimmerman has been delayed just slightly, but one of these days. I mean, I would say one of these days he's going to kill somebody. He's already killed somebody. Um, one of these days he's going to kill again, and because now he thinks he can do it. He thinks he can do anything he wants to, and nobody's going to stop him because nobody has stopped him. Um, but yeah, to me, the showing up the guy's work, that was scary enough. But it was that statement. It was, "Don't you know who I am? I will kill you." Meaning, hey, I've done it before.
Oh
I'm,
man.
I'm not shy about pulling a trigger. And the guy is nuts. The guy is, like I said, he's a time bomb. He's going to go off again. Somebody's going to get hurt or dead. And I mean, at this point, much as I don't wish violence on anybody, at this point, I just hope it's
Uh,
him. If somebody's got to get hurt, let it be him.
well, here's the thing that Bob did they got a statement from Zimmerman and saying why he felt the need to go to the guy's workplace
Not that they've
or why
released.
he fled the scene if there was really a scene to be had. What was his purpose of going to this workplace?
No, they didn't, and I don't even know how
I
people who were.
mean, look, I think I said all I got to say about Zimmerman. I really I saw the article. Um, None of this is shocking. This is the result of a man whose ego is beyond reason here. This is a guy I believe that he believes that he is the law in many ways. That holding a gun gives him the right to do whatever and not be responsible for his own actions. He's not the only one, unfortunately. There's a lot of reports that I have reported on that has the same that tell the same story. Um, Thankfully, some of these guys who have committed these crimes because they felt they were defending themselves when in reality we all know it's not is in jail now. There was even somebody in New York who's in jail for killing their neighbor over a plant. Um, some reason he felt arguing was a justification of shooting a person, and he still has no remorse of what he did. I mean, he's defending himself. But with Zimmerman, again, I don't know what else to say except this is a guy again who has something in his head that feels that he is in his right to be what he is because I got a gun. Nobody's gonna mess with me. I'm not it. Um, he should have went to jail the first time. He got off, and yet he's still doing the exact thing that put him in the situation that got him nearly put away in the first place. Too many people made him a hero. That's got in his head. People, felt that what he was doing was a heroic thing, that he was defending himself. The NRA was parading him around, and to me, not only did they show that he is definitely now all there and he has a gun, but also show he wants to seek attention. When was the last time you heard about a Zimmerman case? Ever? When was the last time since the incident have you heard George Zimmerman's name ever mentioned until you actually saw his sword in the front headlines?
Mhm. Yeah.
So to
Anytime you
me,
ever,
is this. You hope the cops are making a record of
yeah.
it. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you ever hear George Zimmerman's name anymore, it's he hit his wife. He threatened his girlfriend with a gun. Uh, it's always in relation to something that even the sort of the one heroic thing that he tried to make it look like he did, which was saving somebody who got into a car accident, that turned out to be staged. The guy is, I mean, what you described, a guy, somebody who feels that they're a law unto themselves because they carry a gun. There's a word for that, and that word is thug. The word that everybody loves to throw at Trayvon Martin. That word applies to George Zimmerman. It doesn't apply to Trayvon Martin just because he one time maybe threw up a gang sign in a picture and maybe he smoked weed. Um, it applies to the guy who actually carries a gun and threatens people with it on a regular basis. That's the thug.
Well, like I said, I hope the police, in terms of this story, is keeping notes, tracking what he's been doing, because at this point, that's what you got to do. Unless these people are willing to go and press charges on him, he's gonna keep doing what he's doing. You just hope and you just pray that it doesn't lead to another fatality. But right now, with the way he is, the way he's seeking attention, the way he keeps getting the attention, something's going to happen where he's going to end up back in the same situation. Only this time, he's not going to get that support that he once had by the media and by the people who are gun lovers. And you hope that doesn't happen. You really don't. I seen the article. At this point, I looked at it. I didn't really much want to read it because it's the same thing. I pretty much knew what it was. I wasn't gonna dive into it, at least into the entertainment part of it. But it does show how, again, there was a lot of people who idolized this guy because there are gun rights. We have the right to defend ourselves. The guy was a thug and this and that. But as you hear the other stories come in, I noticed that a lot of people who defend him got awfully quiet.
Mhm.
So maybe they're finally realizing, hey, this guy's not what he's saying he is, and he's not all there. He threatened, his then ex-wife's father, threatened some other dude a few months later. Now this. This is all a pattern here, and it's all about one about ego. He definitely feels that he's above the law, and two, he feels that well, if I can do it once, I can do it again. And you better. I'm just hoping that doesn't go to that. I'm hoping it doesn't lead to him doing something like that again. To real people realize that hey, this guy, he's not safe. He's not a safest guy to be around with, and he's very unstable. Just walking by him the wrong way can set him off, and that's something that I'm getting out of him.
One of these days he's going to run into another George Zimmerman because there are plenty of people like him out there, and they're armed. And one of these days he's going to run into them, and it's not going to go so well for him. So, like I said, if it has to come to
Oh,
that, I'd rather it be him that goes down than he take down another innocent person that didn't do anything. But yeah, you're right. All the people who were defending him, because I know I wrote about it when it happened, and there were a few people who were, well, you don't know what happened that day. You don't know what happened that day. Like at this point, I think we all have a pretty good idea of what happened that day. We all have a pretty good idea of what happened. Even if you had doubts in the beginning, it's obvious this guy was just itching to use that gun. He couldn't wait to use it, and he can't wait to use it again. You know, he's out there and he's actively looking for the next Trayvon Martin, and that's a scary thought. That he's out there, he's free, he's armed, because he's going to do it again. It's just a matter of time.
Well, you just hope that that never happens. You just hope that we won't get another situation like that. But the police really need to make a record of it. There's too many agencies, too many cases, and every time when he does something, the media is picking up on it very, very quickly. And it's just been a quiet report, but there's still a report nonetheless. And you just gotta worried. You just gotta shake your head and how they are going to be dealing with that. So hopefully they are keeping record of it, and hopefully it will never have to lead to them where we got to hear that he's on trial for something else.
Yeah,
You look good overall. You look like you know, just came from jogging. I meant to say earlier.
it's cool outside.
How is the weather over there in Minnesota? Before I,
Yeah, it's a little cool outside. Yeah, need the sweatshirt.
yeah, well, we're pushing the 60s. hmm We're
Yeah.
pushing the 60s. Sunday was 53,
Mm.
so we officially now on fall season. Unofficially, and the summer we did have, which we didn't have, is funny, going away in New York, which I don't particularly miss it because I don't like muggy weather.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting you
I,
know, I can't stand it. I like it comfortable. Give me 50, 60s, a little bit of 70s without the humidity. I'll be all right.
yeah, that's pretty much the exact same with me.
Yeah, so that's it. I'm taking a mental note of my football games. My Jets lost against Green Bay. I'm waiting for Gotham. I'm actually going to be watching that a little bit of that because I have a funny feeling that after 6 weeks, I think Gotham's going to get canceled by Fox, and that's not because it's bad, because Fox don't have patience with their TV show, and I don't think this is one of them. So I don't expect this to be a long term commitment with the show.
I think with Gotham,
People don't seem
Netflix.
to like I don't think people are going to be too upset with Fox.
Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead, I'm listening.
Netflix will pick it up because I know I read a story that said Netflix is going to start streaming it. Um, like a new episode will come out, and a week later it'll be on Netflix. So if Fox cancels it, I have a feeling Netflix would pick it up.
So what's the? You really think so?
They've picked up quite a few shows that have
Because
been.
I don't see one of those. I honestly don't see this show lasting long.
It's, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I'm not that excited about it personally, but it's one of those shows where I'm worried that they're going to try and make it like a Destiny thing, that you know Bruce's parents were assassinated, and the guy is wearing a mask and has like a the little red dot will appear on Thomas Wayne's head or something. Um, but yeah, I think Batman's just too popular at this point. For if they cancel it, what else has Fox got? you know, Fox has got nothing. They've got nothing else to put on TV unless they want to do another night of American Idol. So um, I think it'll last a season maybe, but yeah, beyond that on Fox, it's likely they'll cancel it.
I don't know. I'll give it a chance. I am a Batman fan after all. It can't be any worse than Bird of Prey, so
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, but it is Fox. I'm very shaky anytime when Fox do something like this. But it is what it is. Um, I tell you one thing though. People say you got to watch the Green Arrow this year. You got to watch it. You got to watch Flash. You got to watch. You gotta get into it because they're really doing a great job with these shows. You gotta give it a shot. I watched some of Arrow's episode. I actually like it. I'm not too sure I'm gonna dig the romantic interest in the season.
Yeah.
But again, I think I like the dark tone. I think I like what they're doing with it. And I'm actually looking forward for Flash. I was like, it's about time they're bringing back Flash on TV. They should never cancel the first time. So,
I've actually seen the pilot for Flash because it leaked online. So I saw it this past summer, and it is actually really good. I love that they've got the guy playing the Flash's dad is the guy who played Flash in the TV show in the 90s. So I love that they have that little callback in there.
uh-huh.
But Arrow is a good show. You got to get past the first season. The first season's a little rocky. The second season's a better. It becomes a better show. I just wish that
Well,
those
I'll tell you one thing. I was kind of surprised, though. hmm I was kind of surprised that they didn't do a spin-off from the Flash Smallville version. I was a little bit shocked. I said, "Oh, they didn't really do a spin-off on any of the show, of the characters in this show." Oh well, I guess they wanted to go a whole different route, which they did. But the heroes genre is alive and well. A lot of movies next year. Marvels, that is, that's going to come up with a lot of movies. DC got Batman and Superman, and that's pretty much all I've seen so far. But at least they're finally moving forward and getting other characters like Shazam, Go Rock. I'm hoping he does well with the character that he's going to play. And it really shows, especially because you and I both grew up in the '80s. It shows how much the comic book industry has really risen during these last 2 decades from what it was. Because if you look at the '70s, '80s, they didn't take it seriously. They took it as a joke. They took it as a cheap way to make as much money as possible, and they didn't really care about the source material. I still get nightmares of Captain America 1989/1990. That broke my heart. I really did. I said, "Wow, they
I
destroyed my character." And
just got I
go
just
ahead.
on Blu-ray. I just bought the Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I'm watching it, and I had that flashback too
hmm
from '89, and I just thought, how far have we come? This is like a serious, like, political thriller. It just happens to have Captain America in it, and that's the kind of thing that when we were kids we
hmm
could only dream. You know, I never would have expected that there would be an Avengers movie. You know, let alone an Avengers movie where all the characters were set up in their own movies first, and um, a lot of people are too hard on DC and Warner Brothers, maybe rightfully so, but I think it's just because Marvel has done it so perfectly that it's hard to get on board with DC sometimes with the way they handle their movies when Marvel really does it so perfectly.
Well, I think the thing with Marvel is that they take risk and they know not to let one formula follow the other. Like when you see Guardians of the Galaxy, you don't see Avengers style in it. You see their own twist. They see their own style. When you see Iron Man, Iron Man doesn't follow the same formula as say the Hulk uh, or even Captain America. All the movies have their own unique signature to it, where well, you may like it, I may like it, other people may not because that's not their style. Guardians of the Galaxy has their flaws, of course, but a lot of people like it because of the comedic and the action, how they presented it. Captain America, you just said it yourself. That was a political film, but it was so well written that you forgot that you watching a propaganda movie. You just watching it because it's got Captain America. He's doing what he's doing, what he does, what you expect him to do, and a lot, and then some. Um, I cannot safely say that with DC. And the reason why, and I mentioned this briefly on our old discussion board, is it relying on one major formula. I'm gonna say this once and say it again. Stop going to that formula. You cannot make Green Lantern like a Christopher Nolan Batman movie. It's not gonna work. The same thing goes with even Superman. Superman has a formula, has an identity. When you try to put a Dark Knight style storyline to it, you're gonna get not so good reactions. Even when the people said that they wanted more of a badass Superman, there's a difference between having a badass Superman and having a Superman that's more identical to Batman. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. Um, I feel, and I got nothing against Christopher Nolan. I think he is a great director when it comes to that kind of work. He had picked the right character to do it at the right time, but don't just follow that blueprint. Go with a different kind of director who has a different vision. Go with a different kind of style. Don't be afraid to have a hero that's a comedian, that is a jerk, that is not exactly the nicest guy in the world. I can't wait to see how they do Deadpool because I know Deadpool is an anti-hero. Maybe we consider him as a villain, but you know what? We know what we're getting. We know what we're expecting from Deadpool. We're expecting that kind of a moron, jerk, psychopathic kind of guy. And if you saw the test trailer,
I
you
did.
got pumped up for that. I mean, hey, this is what we expect from Deadpool.
Mhm.
I didn't expect Deadpool to be like what the what the X Men Origin Wolverine was, but
Mhm.
that's my Deadpool, and I hope that Ryan Reynolds reprise that role because if you hear his voice, you say, yeah, that's how you do a Deadpool. You don't need to have every character follow the same thing because when they follow the same thing, guess what they're gonna do? Said we've been there, we've done it, we don't need that. And Spider-Man, the Amazing One, they tried that with that series. It didn't work as well as it should, but it's still a good series nonetheless. I just hope they step up their game with the Sinister Six because I don't know if you heard the news yet, James, but Spider-Man may not be much of a factor in the Sinister Six movie. In fact, he may not barely be in it at all. But
Which I don't understand.
maybe, hopefully, they change their mind. But I mean,
How do you do Sinister Six?
I read the books. I mean,
That's that doesn't to me that doesn't that's like say okay we're gonna do Lex Luthor, but Superman's not in it, or we're gonna do I don't know the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but it has nothing to do with X-Men. I mean that just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but I mean I'm not a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man series,
yeah.
so I know that's I don't want to say too much because then I'm gonna have Tim Deanna mad at me because he hates it when I bring it up. But uh, yeah, I'm just not a fan of that series of films. I just didn't. I hated the first one, and I didn't see the second
Well,
one yet. But it's that's just not my
did you see
Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I didn't see it. I didn't have any interest in seeing it. Like I
I
was,
see. I
the,
seen the first one.
everybody said it was terrible, so I didn't go see it.
I'll say this. I gave one a fair rating. I gave two a better rating because I think the chemistry was improved dramatically. And but the script was poorly written. I mean, they did the same thing they should have never done when they did Spider-Man 3. Only for some reason, Spider-Man 3 was actually better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, in my opinion. I think again, I think the problem is, and Andrew Garfield to his credit, have actually gave his own feeling towards it because even though the film made money, it was still the lowest grossing of the entire franchise, which says a lot. Um, there is a lot of stuff they want to do with the Spider-Man universe. They want to give Venom his own movie. I don't see how that's possible. The Sinister Six is supposed to be like an origin story. I don't know why. It's almost like they're trying to expand the universe. I don't mind you expanding the universe. Just you do understand that the Sinister Six do have there's a reason why it's called the Sinister Six, and it's not because of their origin story. It's because there's something to do with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has to overcome not one but six villains, and he has to do it in a test. that will not only test his ability, but test how he handles each situation. And by the way, it wasn't the Green Goblin who's formed the Sinister Six; it was Doctor Octopus.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I'm a little worried about. That I don't want to tell you what they're gonna do with Wolverine because I think if I do, you be on a 10-minute rant. But
I
if you want me to tell you, I'll tell you.
I haven't heard any new news about Wolverine. Or unless you're talking about the
Well,
death of
they're
Wolverine.
looking to kill him off. So
Oh yeah, yeah, no, I heard about that. They'll kill him off. He'll be back next year. It's just I'm
that's why I don't really talk about it that much.
they've been doing this since Death of Superman. I
It's like, hey, we got ourselves is down. We got to pick it back up.
yeah.
All right. we got
Sorry, what'd
we
you say?
got the box office numbers as
Mhm.
I'm seeing it right now. There's a lot to be talked about. I have to say before we begin, I have to ask the question that I wanted to ask you. Are you shocked that Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For, bombed poorly in the box office?
I'm shocked that it bombed as bad as it did. I'm not shocked that it bombed because that movie should have come out a year after the first one. It should have just been, I know they wanted to do a trilogy. It should have just been 2006, 2007, 2008. Um, Nobody really cared anymore. I didn't care. It's another one I didn't go see. I just didn't. I thought yeah, the first one, I liked the first one, but uh, this one just it felt like it was too late. You know, it's like when I hear about Independence Day 2. Yeah, that would have been great in
A
1998.
lot of people said that.
But yeah, it doesn't. It shocks me that it
Mm. A
just.
lot of people have been saying that though. It's kind of surprising
Mm,
that people felt it came out too long. I thought they had a fan base that they could actually overcome that. And that's not the case at all.
yeah. Well, I think this the
Well, I'll give you the numbers if you don't really care about it. The numbers is not good. Um, it's trying to hide from me right now as I'm speaking. I'm scrolling down. Um, I don't even think it's in even the top 20 anymore. Um, I know I've seen it, so I'm trying to find it now. But according to the numbers that I've calculated, it only made approximately not even close to 30 million, and this cost 70 million to make. And I'm like, this may be, and I'm saying the reason why I'm bringing this up, this may be the last time you see Frank Miller in a director's chair, period, because he had two back-to-back bombs.
mm,
One was critically more than so than financially. That was The Spirit, and he directed that. It was a poorly directed film, beautiful. And then you have this, which he co-directed with Rodriguez, and again, this is a lot of star power to this movie, and yet, even though the ratings for it was okay, it was not like it was clearly panned. It was mixed. A lot of people voiced their same problem with the film, but they each had a reason why they liked it or disliked it. Um, but what I keep hearing people who talk about it said, "Nah, it's not that big of a deal. I'll wait." So obviously, there's definitely was a bad omen in terms of fanfare when it came to coming out with this movie. Maybe it's because of the fact that Frank Miller was directing it, and he did rub a lot of people the wrong way, especially with the Occupy Wall Street comment he made, or maybe because they seen the same style, which is it's pretty much sexualizing women and violence. And I think people are just saying that's all they have. They don't have nothing in between. That
well,
is the story. That is. So
there's
maybe maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but
the other thing for me just is, when the first movie came out, I had never seen anything like that before. This sort of the actors, but everything around them was computer generated, and it looked like a comic book, and that was really original. But since then, we've had several movies like that. It's not an original style of filmmaking anymore. 300 did it. There have been quite a few movies who've done something like that. And so for Sin City 2 to come out, it just the thrill of the style of the movie making is gone. And it just to me felt like, again, like I said, it was just too late. It was, if it had come out a year later, I would have been excited to see it. But coming out, what, like 9 years? I think 8 or 9 years since the first one. Um, at this point, it's just sort of like, yeah, I've seen that. I know what that looks like. You can't just rely on visual style anymore. Um, so yeah, the over sexualizing women and stuff, that's just Sin City. I mean, if you don't want that and the violence and everything, that's that's all Sin City is. So it does never. The comics don't have much of a story.
Hmm. Well, it's been pulled in a lot of theaters. Sad to see that happen, but you know, a lot of people said what you've been saying. It was too little, too late.
Mm.
And I'm kind of hoping. To me, this reflects more on Frank Miller than more than Rodriguez. 'Cause he's gonna get another job. I mean, it may be a while, but he's gonna get another director's job. I don't know if Frank Miller's gonna get another director's job. I don't think it's possible that he can survive from that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm still think comic book wise, he still wants to write comic books. He'd be fine with that. But in terms of getting a director's chair, I think this career is pretty much is ended with this movie. Only
Maybe
time will tell.
that's
But we do
probably
have other films that came out. Yeah, go ahead.
no. I was just saying that's probably for the best.
What happened?
That's probably for the best. I don't think anybody is going movies.
Well, you never know. And my Shyamalan still gets jobs, so who
Weirdly.
knows? All right, we got the top five here. We got a lot of movies we want to talk about. A lot of stuff has happened. Some new entries, and I'm gonna start with the number five movie, um, which has a weird title. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's Be Cops, which picked up an extra cool, crisp $4.3 million. It had made so far 72.9. So they pretty much is a smash hit. Been out for 5 weeks. Their budget was 17 million. I'm still surprised this movie have done so well the way it is. Number four, the Turtles have dropped from number three to number two actually to number four. They have picked up $4.8 million of cold hard cash. Keep in mind, this film cost 125 to make. They've been in theaters for 6 weeks. The total gross in the North Americans region is 181 million. I'm still a little surprised it's as low as it is, but keep in mind they did well in the foreign domestic box office. So I guess this is one of the reasons why they're going to be doing a sequel to a
Hmm.
film that has gotten surprisingly mixed reviews. So I thought it was going to be negative all around the board, but it's not been as negative as one may think. So that's partially good news. The surprise smash hit of the year has now finally got knocked out of first place. So we got a new first place movie. Guardian of the Galaxy picked up $8 million this week. They've been in theater for 7 weeks. They saw a drop in theaters by 22.4%. The film has now surpassed the 300 million mark just on the North American theaters alone. They have made a whole lot more if you add the foreign domestic market. So this has been a huge, huge risk for Marvel, and it paid off big time. Bring on the sequel. You know it's going to happen now, especially with the money they have made. So, what are the two films that actually made the top one and two? Well, let's start with Dolphin Tales 2. They made number two. Now, before I even go on the numbers here, I was still stunned as hell that this movie was a sequel. That was a sequel to begin with. I had spoken to to Josh about this before she went on vacation that I didn't even know the first one made money. I checked it on Wikipedia, which, by the way, is not the greatest source to get your information for box office, but it was legit. It did back it up. It made $90 million total in their North American run. So I said, yeah, that makes sense. It definitely made money. I don't know. I did a toss up. My heart told me it may not do well, but I did saw the box office receipts, and I saw how much this movie has made. Dolphin Tales made number two. It brought in $16.5 million. Now the budget to this is 36 million, so it could possibly make. It probably could underperform, which means it didn't bomb, but it didn't make as much as they hoped to. Or it may surprise everybody and stick around and make above their money and go above. Or it can drop dramatically, and this film could be a major disappointment. Either way, the reviews of this movie it's mixed to positive. It's a fun kids movie. Adults is going to have to bear with fun moments for even adults may actually smile. It again, there's not a lot of kids films that are genuine. From what I've heard, this is one of them. So it's one of those films that I'm not actually I rooting against. For, I'm actually rooting for. V tales to it, but there are people who love dolphins, just like they love Free Willy, and the film did pick in a very good, nice, crisp 16 million to show for it. Now for number one, and oh my God, this was this was killed by Chris. This was this what they call this like a Tyler Perry movie without Tyler Perry in it or directing it. No Good Deed is number it is number one in the box office. I projected it was going to make somewhere around 20 or 24 million dollars just on the star power alone. I thought Yusuf Alba is a great performer, a good actor, and I think a lot of people love this actor. I'm still getting people saying he should be the next James Bond.
Mhm.
So that's how good an actor they like of him. This film was universally panned by critics. It was I think it's only 14% on Rotten Tomatoes as I last looked. Yet didn't stop it from making 24.5 million dollars. This film already made its budget. It's only cost them $13.2 million to make, so they already made it and then some. So even if this film was to drop out of face of existence, this film has has done its job. It made its money and it's gonna run. That's exactly what it's gonna do. I made my money. I'm out. So that's your number one film. And to be fair, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. This last few weeks here, in terms of movies, has been horrible. It has been terrible. I mean, it hasn't been any good releases at all, with probably the exception of Dolphin Tales 2, which actually is the most positive review I've seen out of the films that came out this whole entire week. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Um, let's go down to number six here. Number six is The Drop. This is a film from Fox Searchlight. It made $4.2 million. There is no number on this, and every time when there's no number on it, I gotta wonder why they have. There's another film that has made it to number eight. I'm skipping number seven because this film has done a good job. If I Stay, if you want to know, it made $4 million. It's only cost $11 million to make, and they made 44 million. So they've done a job. The, which I have no idea what that is, 2.7 million. But the reason why I'm bringing these numbers is because I have not talked about the film that came out last week. This film, in case you want to know what that is The Identical. Have you heard of it?
I had seen a no, I didn't see a review for it. It's a Christian movie, right?
Kristen and Elvis. That's all you need to know. Kristen and Elvis. This movie, first of all, this movie died in the box office before they got a chance to begin for one reason. I don't mind You putting films on demand, I don't really care about it. But if you're gonna put the film on demand, don't put it in theaters. Just don't, because you're defeating the purpose of the movie. Making